Hello, this is Colembry. Just over the next week, I'm just going to share with everyone my journey up until now, just so everyone's got sort of an idea where I come from to where I am now. And then after that, I will share all the little things I learned over the years to get me to the level that I was. It was back in the 1980s where I started in Toowoomba. At the White Horse Hotel in Toowoomba, I used to go along and watch my wife play. I never played. She wasn't my wife at the time, she was my girlfriend, Karen. It was Karen Morgan back then. Of course it's Karen Embry now, because we've been married since 1986. So yeah, it would have been in the probably 1981 or 82, around that time. And when I started, I used to hold my dart basically like that, all my fingers along it like that, with my thumb underneath there, and I used to come back like that, and I used to have that sort of an action. So I didn't have a real good action, and that all changed over the years. Yeah, and when we started, we used to have a family team. Used to play with the all Karen's brothers, Kenny Haben. I think we used to be called the Chauvinist Pigs, and the girls had a team where they were the Libbers, which was Karen and her sister and all the other men in our team, their wives. So yeah, I actually started in 5th Division first up before I went into that team, and went from 5th straight up to 1st. So that's where I started. I started at a very low division, but showed promise straight away. The good players in Toowoomba in those days, well, I think that the team's name was the Bush Rangers. Not sure if it was Paul McGarry used to be the captain of them, but a lot of the good players back in the days was like Tony Glass, Ronnie Power, Richie Lawson, Big Hooer. Then there was Lawson boys from down in Ipswich. Peter Sandico was also a very good player, still is. And in Brisbane, Bertie Ridgway, Kevin Maxwell. You know, Bert Ridgway was just brilliant. Kevin Maxwell, these are the players that I sort of looked up to. Kevin Maxwell was just a 140 machine. Every time he walked to the board, he hit a 140, and he was never happy about it, which I couldn't understand back in them days. But now I can, because he sets himself such a high standard, and he wasn't happy unless he hit it. But for the ordinary player watching, you know, we all thought, what the hell's he whinging about? That's good darts, but not to him it wasn't, and he was his only person that he had to please. He wasn't there to please anyone else. So Bryony Jansen was, you know, back in them days, he was, to me, he was a very good tactical player. He played tactics. That's what I could see from the sideline, whether he was intentionally or not, but that's how I read it. And yeah, and one of the best players I seen back in them days was Glenn Jones. He was absolutely brilliant, you know. Sometimes he was just untouchable, you know. He used to always say, scores for show, pegs for dough. And in the later years, as I got up to his level, I knew what he meant, you know. Didn't matter how well you scored, if you got a shot at a double, you had to hit it. And he normally did, so yeah, he was very good. Yeah, and Karen Finlayson was in admin in them days, down in Ipswich. These are the sort of people that I grew up with and was influenced by, you know. Linda Russell was very good. Johnny Noble. Yes, there's lots of people. And I actually won my first singles title out at Oakey, and I was the underdog, and back in them days I never used to drink alcohol. I always thought you didn't need to, and yeah, and everyone had ridden me off. And that really was when I showed that I had a bit of ticker, and I wanted to prove them all wrong. So my nerves went, and yeah, I was just determined to win. And I can't remember what I won by, but yeah, the people that were riding me off, they had to actually present the trophy to me at the end, and the pleasure was not so much. It was a really big trophy, but it was just the thought that they had to give me a trophy that they didn't think I was capable of winning. And yeah, back in them days, rep games, I wasn't picked because if people could beat me, they were class good enough to make the rep side, and those that couldn't beat me weren't class, but I was never class good enough to make the rep sides that used to travel down to Brisbane, and that really used to annoy me. But that I turned that into a positive, and I just practiced more and got better and better and better. And in hindsight now, I wasn't good enough, but in them days I thought I was. I just stuck with it. That was in the Toowoomba Darts Association days. Barb and Jack McGarry used to run it back in them days. They used to be high up in the admin. They were good administrators, along with Karen. And Karen still is. And for some reason that association folded, and I think we started up what they call Garden City Darts Association, and they wanted someone to put their hand up, and so I put my hand up, got it started. I was president, I think, for the first years. We used to run from the National Hotel in Russell Street in Toowoomba. That was our home venue. And our rep players, we used to do raffles. There was, I think it was the Bellevue Hotel on Bridge Street. I can't remember the exact address. It's been a while since I've been up there. But my wife and Peter's wife and a lot of the other dart players, they used to go sit at the drive-through, and people come through and get the alcohol, and they used to buy raffle tickets. And that's how we started. And we also did raffles in the shopping centre. And yeah, so we actually, right from the get-go, when I was running it, I never used the dart players as the means of getting the money. I always did the raffles and got it from outside sources, so when the players went away, they were actually, it wasn't their only money that I was giving back to them, it was money that the players basically themselves had raised. So yeah, so that's how I started in the early days. I will then, my next video, when I moved from Toowoomba down to Ipswich, I'll carry on from there, and how I improved even more once I moved down to Brisbane. And the reason I moved down to Brisbane because there was no work in Toowoomba, and I had 4 children, so I needed more than what unemployment could offer me. So I moved to where the work was, and I've been down here ever since. But that would have been about 1990, 94 or something like that. So yeah. So my early days, I started in Toowoomba, and yeah, when I come back for my next video, I will share my journey down in the Big Smoke in Ipswich, Brisbane area, and how my darts improved from there. Okay then, until then, I'll talk to you next time. And I've actually got my Queensland shirt on, the one when I made the Queensland side in 2006. After years and years, well, it took me about 20 years to make it. So just goes to show you what perseverance will do. So yeah, it's my Queensland rep shirt. It's got my name on the back, and yeah, I'm very proud of it, and I still wear it now with pride because it was very hard to get, and dreams are possible if you just keep following them. Okay then, until next time, I'll talk to you then. Okay, bye.